Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 7 of the anime series Hibike Euphonium Season 2. And my god, man, little could I have predicted how south things were going to go at the start of this episode by where we left off in the previous, effectively having Asuka-senpai's mother coming a-calling. And do we find in this episode that she is there to effectively try to tear down everything Asuka-senpai has built up for herself in this band class framework, as the vice president, as the cheerleader, if you will, for the entire band class. I mean, you know, her being involved, her involvement makes or breaks the entire group in this episode, and it's astounding to me. Of course, as we find, we've had hints peppered throughout this season thus far that something was very much bothering Asuka, and it wasn't just limited to what was going on with Nozomi and Mizori. We find now that there are some tumultuous troubles at home, perhaps, with her mother very much being, I take it to be a single working mother based on her dialogue, raising her daughter and being very much concerned for her daughter's future, her well-being, the idea of her getting into college, getting good grades and whatever like that. She feels very much like the band class is holding her daughter back. It's kind of that typical thing, whether it be parents or just, straight 9 to 5 in a cubicle working people. They don't always appreciate the arts. They don't always understand the artistic need to be creative, especially in the case of music where you're lugging around an instrument. I remember a lot of kids when I was in band class, they had to convince their parents time and again that it was for something. They were doing it for something, that, it wasn't all for naught. And to pay the money to get the instrument, maintain the instrument, carry it to school every day. I mean, I had a snare drum for a while. That was a little ridiculous. Unfortunately, it didn't balance out well for me personally in band class. I had to drop out due to various out-of-school reasons and things of that sort. And that's kind of, I can relate to Asuka along those lines, although it wasn't for a lack of parental support in my case. Whereas it seems to be very much the case for Asuka. It seems like her mother just could care less. This is a burden to my daughter, she feels. And she's taking her, whole reasoning to Taki-sensei and the vice principal or whoever he is, who's like stammering in the background. Yeah, this guy's forthright. But I love Taki's resolve. He's like, look, I allowed a third-year saxophone player to come and tell me I need to drop out, I need to quit. And I accepted that because the player herself, or himself, came to me and said, this is what I want, this is what I need. In this case, Asuka herself is not the one making the request, and therefore Taki will not honor it. Unless it comes from her, unless it comes from her lips, unless it is her genuine want, and not something you're forcing her into, I will not accept it. And I was like, hell yes, Taki. Kick some ass. And we have this just confrontational moment where, at first you think maybe the mother's hearing reason. Maybe she's listening to reason, or at least willing to. She takes a couple of deep breaths, and then she orders Asuka to tell him she's quitting the band. And I'm like, facepalm. Are you freaking kidding me? To make matters worse, as Kumiko is overseeing this entire thing because she had to deliver some books and everything like that, do we have Asuka turning to her mother and saying, look, I really don't want to quit. She doesn't even get to finish the sentence before her mother smacks her across the face and then proceeds to berate her in front of the other students, in front of the other, teachers and things of that sort in this meeting room. And Asuka, for all of this negativity, for all of this strife, being so exposed as she is, and potentially could she have been very vulnerable, she simply taps her mother's hand away when her mother starts to realize, oh, maybe I overstepped my bounds. She adjusts her glasses, and she keeps a straight face. And she just requests from Taki, let me take the rest of the day off. I'm going to go home with my mother. We're going to talk this out. Well, apparently that talking out did not end up landing anything that much better for her, because as we see the rest of the episode, she's gone for like a month. And for all that time gone, toward the end when they have this nice open area concert, she comes back at the last minute. Everyone is all stoked and everything like that. And you know, she doesn't skip a beat. She doesn't miss a beat in the performance, which was just showing how talented she is, how much she's built up for herself. Now, I don't know if she's been sneaking off to practice or whatever like that, but she's been out of the game for a month and comes back, you know, fists swinging. And I fell in love with her for that. But even more so was I thoroughly impressed with Haruka in this episode, the band president, who, you know, there's a little moment when Asuka has to leave. She goes to Natsuki and says, you know, can I talk to you a little bit? And then later on we see Kumiko stumbling upon Natsuki, and I think it's Haruka. You know, she's trying to ease her through learning some of the different aspects of the upcoming piece, whether by saxophone or another instrument, euphonium, I think it was. Potentially, you know, trying to grace her for the idea of overtaking, you know, the now void spot that Asuka leaves behind in her absence. But do we find, when it comes time for the actual concert itself at the end of the episode, which the music they played was spectacular, it was on point. As Kumiko's friend from the other school says, bad-ass. Very much so. Haruka comes in with that saxophone solo, and I was like, oh, hell yes. The entire you know, musical piece was fantastic. It was beautiful. It was energetic and everything like that. Nobody missed a beat. Asuka Senpai did not miss a beat. But seeing Haruka taking up that solo for that particular song was so triumphant, because she really had to pick up the slack in the absence of Asuka. She kept herself strong and stoic, and that's what this band needed at this point. They were falling to pieces. They needed a strong voice to reunite them. And I love, in answer to the speech Haruka gives to this class, you know, you basically have Yuko being like, look, we're totally backing you. We're not backing down because Asuka's not here. You know, you don't have to worry about us. We know you got our back. We got your back as well. And, you know, that camaraderie, just, it overcomes all for these characters. And I thoroughly loved that aspect. And, you know, Haruka for this episode was best girl, in my opinion. And then toward the end, of course, after everything has gone so well with this performance, do we cut back to Kumiko's home, and we have very dramatically her elder sister slipping on her shoes and taking leave. And so I assume the next episode will call back upon that. And we will find out more about what it is exactly going on with Kumiko's sister's life, why she wants to drop out of college, why she's so willing to come to argumentative blows with her father over this. And even Kumiko, you know, they confronted each other very poorly in the previous episode. But I'll be highly curious to see how things unfold from here. I love this series. I love the characters. I love the camaraderie, how everyone comes together in the face of adversity. And if not actually literally attaining gold by the season's end, boy, are they attaining gold, you know, figuratively speaking, metaphorically speaking, in amongst how they interact with each other and are supportive of each other and there for each other and care for each other. And something to aspire toward, most definitely. So, yeah, otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.